Voyager's flying along, minding its own business, when it detects a signal. A Federation signal. Tuvok says it's using an encryption key that Starfleet implemented a month after they left, and that the signal itself told them this, which raises a whole load of questions about security, but let's see where this is heading. We fly over to the signal origin to find whatever's emitting it is inside some purple candy floss. The candy floss must be electrical or something because it's blocking scans, but apparently not blocking enough to prevent teleporting it out, as Kim suggests doing so, and we probably shouldn't ask too many questions about how breaking something down on a molecular level is less taxing than seeing it. Chakotay decides this might not be wise before they know what it is, though, so they pull it out with a tractor beam. The source of the signal doesn't like this plan on account of it being a Kazon ship, and it starts pooping blue on them. They'd normally be a match for this class of vessel, but the Kazon seem to know just how to match their shields, almost as if they have someone aboard who intimately knows Starfleet. Anywho, the blue poop opens a hole in the shield which a smaller Kazon ship flies through and rams into a cargo hold on Voyager, which seems only fair given that Chakotay rammed one of theirs. Some Kazon climb out to be met by Tuvok and a security team. Being told to surrender doesn't go well, and they all do some pooping, during which a couple of them shoot a door panel making it open, which seems bloody dangerous to me, but maybe it was designed by the holodeck safety guy. The Kazon who legged it go to a teleporter room, take a piece of tech that makes it work, then teleport away using the tech they've just taken a piece from, and wow, is this an above-average number of plot holes, or am I just in pedantic mode today? Voyager locks a tractor beam on the Kazon ship so they can't leg it, and the Kazon hail them. Janeway tells them that they won't be able to use the tech they just stole, but the Kazon boss isn't that worried, because he has help. On a tangent here, if we assume that Voyager has been predominantly going in the general direction of Federation space since Seska legged it in Season 1, then this meeting is, to be generous, very improbable. I did a little reading, and the sustainable cruising speed of Voyager far outstrips the Kazon radar. Even if Voyager had been making plenty of stops and detours, the Kazon wouldn't have been able to get sufficiently far ahead without knowing exactly where those detours would lead Voyager, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to calculate an intercept point on Voyager's new course. All of which is to say, if you're listening to this and you're a writer, let somebody neurodivergent read your story before you call it finished, because we'll spot a good 99% of these things, and we'll probably let you pay us in pizza. But again, I digress. Seska does some science thing on Voyager's tractor beam, saying that Chakotay was predictable for using it, despite it being Janeway's order, just saying, then breaks free and legs it. In the aftermath, B'Elanna's taking a look at the Kazon boarding ship. They can't do a bloody thing while it's stuck in them, and Janeway wants it out so they can go after the Kazon. Chakotay thinks it's a trap, though, because she's left an obvious trail, a conclusion we see as accurate when we cut to Kazon Boss chatting with other Kazon bosses about ambushing Voyager and stripping it for parts. Down in engineering, B'Elanna's rigged a shiny red karaoke microphone to detect the part that the Kazon nicked so they can teleport it back. Then she and Chakotay have a chat about Seska being a manipulative shit, and that his angry response to her is part of that manipulation, which is an insightful point. Meanwhile, the other Kazon bosses are having a pissing contest with the first Kazon boss, because we need reminding that they're barbarians, before Seska intervenes and defuses the situation. Well, sort of. Voyager comes across their bodies in space, which I guess qualifies as defusing the situation, and after taking them aboard, the doc tells us that they were teleported into space, so I guess they got that working properly too. Later, Janeway's holding a meeting to figure out what to do next, or trying to, as Chakotay hasn't turned up yet. On checking, it seems he's not on Voyager anymore. He's nabbed a shuttle, without anyone noticing by the way, and has also nicked the shiny red karaoke microphone so he can track the stolen tech and teleport it back. As an aside, teleporting a piece of equipment that's part of a system with power running through it doesn't seem like the safest plan, but it's hardly the worst offender on the illogical front this episode, so we'll let it go. Tuvok and Janeway are talking about how he managed to get a shuttle without anyone noticing, thank you, before B'Elanna tells them he's taken the shiny red karaoke microphone too. They set off after him, using impulse only as the warp engines are still buggered, while Janeway orders Tuvok to review all security procedures, and I'll give points to the writers here for Janeway being pissed off that this shit keeps happening. Back with Boss Kazon, he and Seska are talking about the other Kazon sects and how it might have been wiser to talk to weaker ones first. Then he's a misogynistic pig to Seska because barbarians, remember, and she acts meek and submissive, likely while pondering where she's going to put the knife. While that's happening, B'Elanna's visiting Janeway and trying to defend Chakotay. Janeway's response is initially one of frustration, and, on a personal note, this aspect of the captain is of far more interest to me. Janeway at the end of her tether is not the same as just plain badass, and I have significantly more time for the Janeway who points out just how fucking arrogant it is for Chakotay to make this all about him. B'Elanna explains that his judgment is clouded by shame and betrayal before we reach a compromise of fixing it now and worrying about discipline later, and B'Elanna doesn't notice that Janeway hasn't committed to not throwing him out of an airlock. Chakotay reaches the Kazon ship and powers down the shuttle so he's not spotted. Seska notices there's something screwy though and does some green flashy things, which makes the shuttle show up. She tells him she sees him, then starts pooping out low-power fireworks to shake him up a bit without kabooming the shuttle. The shiny red karaoke microphone finds the stolen tech, but one of those fireworks buggers up the microphone so he can't nick it back. His plan rumbled, he spits out a message beacon, then makes the shuttle look like he's lost control, and the Kazon drag it aboard. When they open it up, he's not inside. He's teleported to where Seska is and poops some yellow on the console next to her, blowing up the teleporter part, which is mission accomplished, as long as we don't remember that the shuttle has a teleporter on it too. You know, the one he just used. Then he surrenders to Seska. Voyager gets a signal from the message beacon and it plays a recording of Chakotay saying he solved the teleporter problem, which isn't true for the reason I've just given, and that they shouldn't try to rescue him. On the Kazon ship, Chakotay's getting a bit of the old violence from some lads, which, to be fair, he started by trying to throw them off. Seska shows up and they have a little chat. She points out that she has the shuttle, but Chakotay says that wiping the computer core rendered it useless. Of course, if that were true, the part they stole earlier wouldn't have worked either, but we'll let it go. Then there's some attempted manipulation, with her wanting command codes, which should have been disabled by now if Tuvok is worth a damn, and she strops off after he tells her to go fuck herself. Back on Voyager, there's some back and forth between B'Elanna, Tuvok and Janeway over whether they should go and fetch Chakotay. Despite Kim telling them that a load more Kazon ships are approaching, Janeway decides to go after him. Which is probably just as well, as he's getting the shit beaten out of him. Still, he's taking the opportunity to sow discord between Seska and Kazon Boss. Even when he's drugged, he tells Kazon Boss that Seska is going to kill him. Kazon Boss leaves, maybe to have a little cry, while Seska does some probing. Voyager's approaching where the Kazon ship is to discover there are 5 more. Neelix finds the prospect of cooperation to be unlikely, but can't rule it out. Either way, turning up to say hi would be unwise. B'Elanna says that might not be necessary and suggests it may be possible to teleport him out of there while at warp speed, so I guess they got the warp engines working again. Tuvok points out that's real fucking dangerous, but B'Elanna thinks she can do it because she's done it before. Over on the Kazon ship, Kazon Boss is having a little get-together with the other Kazon bosses, the ones he hasn't murdered anyway. Nice of them to be all within a couple of days' travel, given how wide the Kazon sects are spread, but let's ignore that. Kazon Boss launches into a speech about how this is a wonderful day where they're all going to attack Voyager with its own command codes, which, again, should have been disabled by now if Tuvok's doing his fucking job, but one of them isn't buying it and wants proof. Kazon Boss wheels out Chakotay, and doubting Kazon takes a random stranger in a uniform to be all the proof he needs. Voyager's on the way but can't get a lock on Chakotay. Janeway suggests Seska might be blocking the scan of him, so B'Elanna does some science and finds him. Can't get a teleporter lock though, so it looks like we're going to drop in on them after all, and we slow down. The Kazon spot Voyager, and doubting Kazon tells Boss Kazon to use those command codes that he definitely has and that definitely still work. Boss Kazon, instead, tells his ship to do some pooping at Voyager. B'Elanna gets a lock on Chakotay and teleports him away, but Seska's not having that shit and grabs him back again. The other Kazon bosses order their ships to engage Voyager, but doubting Kazon is getting real impatient with Kazon Boss. Seska says she's going to the bridge to try the codes from there, and definitely not to Scarp or Honest, and doubting Kazon blocks Kazon Boss from going with her. Teleporting Chakotay still isn't working because of the scan block that's around him, but Janeway has an idea. If we can't get him, let's grab the Kazon bosses instead. Tangentially, I notice we've been doing a lot of teleporting through shields this episode. When did that become a thing? Regardless, the Kazon are teleported to Voyager to find Tuvok and friend pointing guns at them, and are given the offer of freedom in exchange for Chakotay and the shuttle, so at least we cleared up that loose end. Later, after we've legged it, Janeway calls Chakotay an arsehole and tells him not to do it again. Then Tuvok detects a beacon with a message from Seska, who says she nabbed some of Chakotay's DNA and used it to make herself preggers. Congratulations. End of episode.